And what's up, everybody? This is Terminator Juice. Happy Mario Kart Monday. This is going to be my weekly series that I do every Monday. The time will change depending on certain situations. But this is my second episode entitled Third Party BS. As in last week's episode and any future episodes of this, I'm going to first go over the results from Thursday night's the Juices Loose tournament that I hold, and give the new rules for the up and coming tournament on Thursday. So yeah, and then I'll go into basically my main topic, kind of like Francis does with his I think his Player Essence Cross Nintendo. It's going to be like each week I'll have something on my mind that I want to address and discuss. There's a questions and answer app or Q&A app. If you're watching this on Google Plus, I already have some questions that Mario Walker left me. He must have got on here earlier and submitted the questions. So if you're watching this, I'll appreciate that. I'll get to those towards the end. So without any further ado, we'll go over the results from last week's tournament. We had some new faces. We had the highest number of racers at 18 total, up from 14 the week before. So thank you everybody who joined, who's new, and always appreciate everyone the repeat. We've had quite a few regulars now in the third week that I've done this. But one of the newcomers was actually the winner this week, Gray. I never raced with Gray, so I didn't see the me. I don't know if it's a male or female. I'm gonna assume it's a male, but I don't know. If you're watching this, if you can let me know. Awesome job, 198 points. That was by far the highest on any of my tournaments so far in the 3 weeks we've done it. Jason K, he came back. He missed the second week, but was there for week number 1. He got second place the first time, and he gets second place again with a respectable 189 points. Jason K, awesome. He's from the UK. I forget if it's Scotland or something. He's the only international racer that I've seen in my tournament, so hopefully he can continue to join us. He's a very skilled racer, and I just appreciate the competition. So third place is Harden 25. He was the repeat winner. He won weeks 1 and 2, 185 points. He was right up there, and it was a good effort, but somebody had to knock you off at some point, and it was this week. Lee 87 rebounded from last week's terrible performance, 170 points. Good job, man. Sora Life had 159 in 5th place. In 6th place, Rod Joe, 156 points. Rodney Smith, I believe. You seem to always just get me by 1, so I'm going to get you one of these times. I had 7th place at 149 points. Titanium, 8th place. Wheels Pig, 9th place. Steel Fox, 10th. Andrew, what happened? He got 11th, 125 points. He's pretty much been my closest competition each week. His YouTube name is BlueDog5454, and had a little bit of a rough go of it. And sorry about that, but maybe this week you can do better. Then 12th was Fat Stacks, otherwise known as GS4Y from the Active Gamer Life podcast. He had 122 points. Appreciate him. He raced the whole thing even though he was having some trouble. 13th was Godito. 14th was Mike, who was a guy from my Zelda U discussion, New World Order for Life, on here in Google Plus. 15th EOTA, or East of the Anduin, I think it's short for. He had a rough go this time as well. He got 15th. Digital 16th, and then the next two guys didn't race the whole time. DJ GF got 52 points and Owen 24. I'm not sure if you guys, all the new faces, I switched to the shuffle option, and something I want to talk about real quick is that's kind of a broken system. Like first group had like 5 people, and then the second group had, the first race wasn't a full group, and then the next group come in after that race, and they start. And so when 4 races were up, those group of 4 or whatever, or 5, they went off on their own, and it kept doing that. It shuffled people into groups of 2 instead of like just going, let's say, at 18 people, so that should have been 2 lobbies total. Instead of shuffling everybody into 2, it just, every time a person got to the 4th race, it would shuffle them, and it's a system they need to fix, because there was 2 races with just me and Jason K, and then 2 races where it was 2 other guys. It was the 4 of us, and then we got back with a bigger group, and I had another person tell me that he was with just 2 guys, and then my buddy Steel Fox was texting me. He said he was in a full group with like Gray and everybody the whole time, so he didn't have an opportunity to race against the CPU, which is how I got first place a couple times. Then with Active Gamer Life's Red versus Blue tournament, it kept throwing us into like lobbies. There was only 10 people, but we were on 3 or 4 different shuffle. Like, it was 3 people first. It was me, Red Knight, and this other person, and then other people joined, and then after that 4th race, it would just throw us 3 together again. It's like, there's only 10 people at that point. There's no reason to shuffle. So while it's better than, the first 12 get to race, and then anyone after that, they're screwed. They got to play the CPU the whole time. It definitely needs to be fixed. So hopefully Nintendo will address that shuffling option. I don't know if anyone's given any feedback, but that needs to be fixed, so that if there's 12 people or less, it doesn't have to shuffle. It should only be there if there's like 14, 15 people, and then it would shuffle in the extra 3, and and work that way. It doesn't, but so be it. So yeah, that was the results. I want to congratulate Gray again. Awesome job. He blew us away. No one even. I mean, Jason K was close. He was 9 points away, but come out of nowhere, new racer, and he just dominated, he or she. So yeah, that was the results. I got the rules for this week's tournament, which will be like the 27th. Let's see, the 27th of June. It's 150cc. It's going to be karts only, which would be the opposite of last week. And this is the big one. I've been waiting for this, and I was happy it came up. No items. Now, there will be coins on the track, but there's absolutely no items. So if anyone's watching this, you're scared, think that's going to suck. I've raced no items before, and it's still pretty competitive. Yeah, if someone gets out to an early lead, as long as they don't mess up, they're probably going to win. But there's also a little bit of rubber banding that will help. And if you take your corners better, you're going to catch up to the person. So hopefully this doesn't scare people away. It's just for one tournament, 16 races. We'll get rid of all the blue BS. I got ruined by blue shells. The last 2 tournaments I played mine and then Active Gamer Life. There's 3 times I was leading, and a blue shell comes up and ruins it, and then I get 2nd, 3rd, or 4th. So if you get out to a good start, the launch is going to be very important. You make it through the first couple corners and you stay ahead of people and you don't mess up, you're probably going to win. But if you go on the grass a little bit, somebody's going to catch up. So there's always going to be somebody on your tail. Obviously, the best racers are more than likely going to win. But hopefully people just give it a chance, and we'll see what happens. If it totally sucks, then I'll take it off the board next time. But I'm excited about this. I've raced no items many times online. There's a tournament. It's just always active, set up for no items, and I enjoy it. So karts only, no items. So all the bike people like myself, we got to find a kart you like and use that. So look forward to that. 9 o'clock Eastern Time, 9 p.m. I say this every time, but try to get there as soon as possible so we don't get into so many different groups, and then the shuffling won't be as bad if most everybody's there at the same time. Then it's not going to shuffle you, and it looks like people are dropping out, but really if you miss the first race and on race 4, they're going to look like they drop out, but they're getting reshuffled. So try to get there right at 9 or as close to it as possible. And what I'm going to do is I'll be in there right away. I'm not going to pick the course to give it the most time possible for people to join. I'm going to let the countdown, the 10-second timer go, and and give everyone as much time as possible before the race starts. So I look forward to that, though. I'm very excited about no items, and hopefully we can keep a similar turnout, like attendance that we had last week. 18 racers. I was blown away. I really appreciate everyone who raced and who stayed to the end. I think only 2 people, it looked like, didn't race all the races, so I appreciate that. So also I want to mention, I was looking at my activity log on the Wii U and Mario Kart 8. I got 60 hours logged with 39 plays, and that puts it number 2 on my all-time most played game on the Wii U, behind Call of Duty Black Ops 2, which I played 68 hours over the course of a year. And there was a big game drought in there, so I was surprised it was only 68 hours. But Mario Kart 8, by this time next week, it'll be my most played Wii U game, and it just goes to show how awesome that game is. And it came at the right time because there's not a lot of TV series on. There's not much else to do. I mean, it's summertime. There are some things to do on the weekends and stuff, but it's just a great game. I love playing it. I got all the cups now 3-starred on 150cc mirrored, everything. And once you get at least 1 star on all the cups, it unlocks obviously the gold cart, and then the gold wheels was for beating the time trials. But another thing that no one really talks about is it unlocks like new startup menu, like instead of Super Mario or Mario saying Mario Kart 8, Luigi says Luigi Kart 8, and then there's one of like Princess Peach. There's one of Rosalina just kind of leaning with one leg up on a quad. It's really cool and kind of subtle. No one really talked about it, but every time you boot up the game, after you get 1 star on every cup, you get these new backgrounds every time you start the game up, which is cool. So yeah, that's it for the Mario Kart 8 stuff. Now I want to move on to my main topic, third-party BS. And I was on a podcast with Red Fox, Mr. Red Fox, and Francis from P Nintendo, and Andrew GVG. I forget all the. He's got like 5 letters in his YouTube name, and I didn't write it down, but he's a really cool dude. But we got off topic a lot. There was a lot of RPG discussion, and I didn't really get to address a lot of the things I wanted to talk about. So I kept my list, and I'm just going to go over that, and then get to questions after that. If anyone has any questions related to the third-party stuff, now's the time. So yeah, I said in that podcast, and I say it again, the thing that bothers me the most is the deception, or the attempts at deception, by these third parties and these publishers. The developers and publishers, they're both at fault. They try to show you one thing and then they deliver another, and it's just becoming more and more accepted, and it's happening more often than not, and it's just my number one thing that just really drives me crazy, and it makes me not want to support these companies. So example of that, everybody knows Watch Dogs, E3 2012, they showed this amazing game that looked like photorealistic, and then the game comes out 2 years later and it's not even half that visually impressive, and it's like 2 extra years of development time and your game looks worse. So obviously what they showed us wasn't the game at that time. The game couldn't have been that far along if 2 years later it's regressed. So that just really bugged me. You got CGI trailers that are supposedly in-game, like the Uncharted 4 trailer. You got people, even Shokio, he believes that that's in-game footage. He said it in his recap. And that might be in-game cutscene, but that's not in-game graphics. That's not what you're going to play. You got Sony saying that Watch Dogs will be 1080p, 60 frames per second. They're hyping up for the PS4, and then Ubisoft comes out and says no, it's 900p, 30 frames. So it's like, why are you trying to lie to people? Why are you trying to build up this false hope and this hype based around false things like lies, and expect people not to be pissed when the final product doesn't deliver? Alien Colonial Marines is probably the most notorious, one of the most hated games that come out in the last couple years. I forget, it was the guys that do the Borderlands games. I can't think of the company, but they were hyping up this Alien Colonial Marines, especially the Wii U version, and then they showed this trailer of this awesome gameplay and stuff, and then it turns out that the game didn't deliver on that. That was not game footage. The game didn't deliver that, and then the Wii U version got delayed and then never officially canceled, just didn't come out. And with all the bad press and stuff, I don't blame them for not releasing it. But it makes you wonder, were they even working on the Wii U version? I mean, the director, God, I wish I could think of the name of that company, like Black Box or something. He went on to like address Assess with Adam Sessler, and he was just talking about how the Wii U version was looking awesome and the gamepad was used, and then the game doesn't come out and then we hear nothing. So that's pretty much the biggest example of like false advertising. But there was a game that got critical acclaim that came out in 2013 that did the same thing. Back in 2011, we had BioShock Infinite get shown at E3, and it showed this awesome stuff, and you know, most of it delivered when the game came out, but Ken Levine, the creative director, said that that wasn't the game running. They were showing you what they were hoping the game would look like, and they actually pulled it off. They pulled like the gameplay stuff. They showed the hook and the rail system. None of that was even done when they showed that footage. And then if you go back and watch the E3 2011 BioShock Infinite, none of that really made it into the game. It was obviously just some CG that they'd done. So they lied, but they pulled it off for the most part, and I think that's why it went under the radar, and he admitted it. But still, that was still a deception at the time of what they were hoping the game would end up being, and they delayed it so that it made sure that it turned out as close to what they showed as possible. But that's just, you know, these bull shots people call, where they show these amazing screenshots or that are like super high res from the PC build, or they show Arkham Knight on the PlayStation 4 press conference. They show this amazing game and this demo, this seamless, you know, going from the top of the skyscraper to down to the city to in the Batmobile to on top of another building through some ductwork, all seamless. And then they get asked afterwards, and they admit that that was running on the PC. Like, this is a PlayStation 4 Sony press conference, and you're showing the PC build of a game. Unless the PC version or PS4 version turns out exactly like that, why are you showing us the PC version? Why not show us what we're going to see for the PlayStation 4? Why not? Why try to show us something that we're not going to get? If you have a PlayStation 4, you buy Arkham Knight, you're expecting what you saw months earlier, and if they don't deliver, then they're really going to, hopefully they'll take some crap for it. I doubt they will, but why show us the PC version? Just show us the PlayStation 4 version. I think The Witcher 3 in the Microsoft press conference looked like it was run on Xbox One. It looked like a downgrade from the version they showed last year, but it still looks like a visually impressive game. But I would believe that was running on the Xbox One. So it's just, why try to deceive us? That's the number one thing. Just if you're saying, hey, this is what we hope to achieve, this is our goal, we want the game to be like this, stay tuned for more a progress update later on, but this is the game we're trying to make. No, they just present it as actual game and actual gameplay. So that just really pisses me off. And as much as you know, people harp on Nintendo for stuff, they don't do that. They show you a game in its true form, and then a couple months later you see it and it looks better. Like they made progress, and that's the way they've done it for a long time. And there's people so ingrained, non-Nintendo fans pretty much, they're so ingrained to see something awesome or CG, and then they're so used to seeing a lesser product when it's done. When that Zelda U trailer was shown, IGN kind of like cut it and put it as up on their channel, and there's people like, oh, that's not gameplay, that's CG. You know, they're so used to seeing CG and being fooled that they just assume that that's what Nintendo did with Zelda U. And like I said in another video, it's like one side saying it looks too good to be on Wii U, and then you got the other side of the haters saying it doesn't look visually impressive at all. So it's like there's just conflict there. But for the most part, what Nintendo shows you is the game at that stage, and the next time you see it, you can expect it to look better, and that's how it's been going with pretty much every Wii U game at this point. So that's why I'm still loyal to Nintendo. If they pulled the bullshit that Ubisoft's pulling and stuff, I would lose hope, lose faith, and I probably wouldn't support them as much. But another thing, the whole install base of the Wii U with the Ubisoft CEO was like, we have a finished game, and we're waiting for the install base to get bigger before we release this game. You have a finished game that you've never announced, so it couldn't be that big of a title. It really can't be, because why wouldn't they have... Ubisoft's known for hyping up their games way too soon. They would have talked about this game before. It must be... I'm guessing it's going to be a smaller title, maybe something in the vein of Just Dance or something. And otherwise, come on. If they had a game that's done, they've already spent the money. If it was going to be a great game, they would be hyping it up. They would be releasing it. It can't be the install base, because the Xbox One install base is almost 2 million less, and the 3DS install base is like 45 million. So install base really can't be the reason they're not releasing this game. It's just an excuse, and it's almost like a threat too. Like, if you don't buy our Ubisoft games, if you don't support us, then we're not going to release this game, and we're not going to release any games, because he said there'll be a lot less games on the Wii U if the install base doesn't go up, and they're probably counting on Watch Dogs to sell pretty well. I don't think it will, just because of the delay and all the other bullshit. So don't threaten us. Don't hold us ransom by saying that we need to buy games, especially their games, I'm assuming, in order for them to continue to support the Wii U. If they had already announced, Assassin's Creed for sure, DLC and all that, we're getting Assassin's Creed Unity, people we're waiting for this to happen. We're waiting for a developer to say, all right, you're getting this game day one, same day as all the other versions with all the DLC. I think a lot of Wii U owners are waiting for a developer or publisher to do that, and no one has done it yet. We always get something missed. Online multiplayer gimped, or the co-op version removed from Splinter Cell, or no DLC confirmed before the game releases, and they obviously don't put that much time into getting the game to look any better than the 360 or PS3 version. So it's like, why would we support your game? Like, if Arkham Knight was coming out same day as the Xbox One and PS4 and PC version, we say, hey, there's going to be DLC. This game is not going to be forgotten. You guys, if you buy the game, you can expect complete parity with the other versions. I think that'd go a long way. They just won't do it because they don't want to do it. I don't know the reasons. Yeah, the Wii U version isn't going to sell as much as the PS4 version. That's just a fact. I mean, look at Assassin's Creed on PS4 sold 1 million plus, and on the Wii U it sold like 100,000 copies. So we don't buy annual games that often. Like, we're not going to support an Assassin's Creed game every year. As a Nintendo fan, we're used to getting games once per generation, a really quality title, a complete finished game with tons of content. We're not fans of buying games every year. So now we're getting Assassin's Creed every year. We're not, apparently, this year, but I'm saying Call of Duty, now there's Battlefield every year. Far Cry 4, it's about 17 months since Far Cry 3. That's going to be annual. I guarantee it. Watch Dogs will be annual. And they're just going to get burnt out. We like our games spread out a little bit more than that. I don't need another 3D Mario for a couple years because we just had 3D World. So same thing. I don't need Assassin's Creed every year. So I think these annualizing these franchises is just going to kill the franchises sooner. Yeah, you'll make a lot of money in the short term for a couple years. But then what are you going to do when you have an 800-person team making an Assassin's Creed game that sells 1 million or less across all systems? Then what are you going to do? Then you're losing money. Now you got to find a new franchise. Well, we got Watch Dogs. Well, basically it's the same game as Assassin's Creed, but with a more modern setting. They're going to get... People are going to wise up eventually, just like with Guitar Hero, just like with Tony Hawk, Rock Band. All these annual franchises. Call of Duty sold almost half of what it sold the year before. People are wising up, especially a lot of these new gamers. They're a couple Call of Duties in, and they're not used to it yet, but they're going to get burnt out eventually, especially with now we get Battlefield and Call of Duty every year. And like I said, Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, yeah, the different settings, but it's similar gameplay. Um, and people are just going to get burnt out, and it's going to be the end of, third parties. There's only going to be a couple third parties. There's going to be, Nintendo with their first party stuff, Sony with their first party. Third parties, there's going to be a couple left, but there's going to be a fallout, and it's going to be because of this, a lot of this crap. And it's greedy CEOs looking at numbers and not thinking big picture, not thinking stability of the industry. They're just trying to make their money now. That's their job, and they're doing what they're getting paid to do. They're trying to make as much money as they can every couple months or every year. They want to have good numbers, and that's pretty much their driving force. So another thing I want to touch upon real quick, speaking of Far Cry 4, I saw an article, I don't know how old it was, the developer saying, well, the PS4 and Xbox One version is going to be graphically equivalent to a PC ultra settings, and you're not going to see much of a difference. And I'm like, you're saying that trying to make us think that the PS4 and Xbox One are these super powerful systems, but anyone with a brain, anyone that's been around long enough, knows what you're really saying is you're gimping the PC version because you want it to look like the PS4 and Xbox One version, because there's no way Far Cry 4 should look on Ultra on a PC, let's say with a Titan or a GTX 780 with like an Intel i7 or whatever, solid state hard drive, maybe 16 gigs of DDR5 RAM. There's no way that Ultra settings on that PC should match a PS4. PS4 has basically two cell phone quad-core processors put together and a mid-level Radeon graphics card. There's no way that the PC version should look anywhere near the PS4 version. But what he didn't mention was if the frame rate was going to change. He said it would look like the PC on Ultra, but will it run like the PC on Ultra? Because if you have a good PC, you should be getting 60 plus frames a second, 1080p native, and that's just, it's like, okay, we're going to try to make you guys, if you're dumb, you're going to believe that the PS4 is going to compete with a high-end PC because Ubisoft said so and the Far Cry 4 team said so, but there's really, I mean, if you think about it, there's no way that that should even be possible. They should make the PC version so if you have the equipment, it should be 2-3 times superior to the PS4 version, but maybe they don't want to spend the development time. Maybe it's easier for them to just develop for the Xbox One and PS4 and then just drag that over to the PC, and then boom, it works because there's similar architecture, x86 or whatever, 8 gigs of RAM and 8-core processor, so most people have that these days. So maybe that's cheaper for them, but the PC version doesn't sell. I will give them that. The PC version, will sell like 100,000 of any one of their games. And on the consoles, they'll sell 1, 2, 3, 4 million. So, I can't blame them for not wanting to sink a ton of money. But don't try to blow smoke up our ass and act like the PS4 and Xbox One are going to compete with a high-end PC. That's just ridiculous. So that's just Ubisoft being Ubisoft, and I just shake my head at it. And their Uplay service on PC sucks, so I probably won't play any of their games in the near future because their Uplay service is just terrible, and I hate being forced to use it. So, that's pretty much all I have. Those are some of the gripes. Let me look at my list, make sure I didn't forget anything. No, that's pretty much it. So I'm going to get to the questions that were submitted. I'm just going to pick them from top to bottom. Mario Walker, what are the cutest / charming games you have played? I don't like to rate things as cutest. It's one of my pet peeves is calling something cute. People say that about my Subaru and stuff, and it bugs me. But like charming, I got to go kind of back over the course of my whole gaming history to like kind of get, answer that question. Like when I played back in the day, like Link to the Past, kind of felt like that was a charming type game, but it's kind of a hard question to answer off the top of my head. Maybe I'll come back to that. Let me let me go to the next question because it's a little bit easier to answer. When you think we'll see another Direct, Nintendo Direct, obviously. I'd be surprised if there's not one by the end of July or early September. If I recall, well, I kind of skipped August there. I'm going to say August because that's in between. Last year they did an August one after E3, and it showed 3D World looking amazing. They showed Mario Kart looking amazing, and I think August would be a good time because there's nothing really coming out in June or July. August can, unless they do a game-specific direct. We don't know how they're going to do this. They haven't done a normal direct since like February. They've basically been game-specific, so maybe they'll do a Hyrule Warriors direct in July or August. So we'll have to see what the format's going to be now. Is it going to be a bunch of games, or are they just going to do individual games now? I'd like to see some updates on Zelda U maybe by holiday this year. Maybe do a direct to show another trailer of that or something, get people hyped, with Smash coming out and stuff. So I would say August would be the soonest we'd see another one, maybe the end of July. So next question, the toughest Wii U game. Well, the toughest Wii U game that I've played is Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze overall. Excuse me. But the hardest level in Donkey Kong wasn't as hard as the hardest level in 3D World, Champions Road. But overall, toughest game for me was Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. So, yeah, I don't play a ton of super hard games. I didn't play Wonderful 101, and yeah, I'll stick with Tropical Freeze. Next question: what TV do you play games the most on? Well, the most on is what TV do I only play on? It's my my Sony. I bought it in February. The day that Donkey Kong came out was the day it was delivered to my house. I got a 65-inch Sony LED TV, and it's a smart TV, and it's their second best 1080p TV they ever made. The only one ahead of it has a full LED backlit, complete full panel, and the one I have is just edge lit. But the full lit one was like 1,500, maybe 2,000 more, and it's definitely the best TV ever owned. It's got their technology called it's the triluminous display, and it has the most vibrant colors you'll ever see in your life. All bright scenes look amazing. The only weakness it has is if there's like a darker scene with like fog and kind of mood lighting, it doesn't have that awesome contrast that I was used to with my plasma, but it's only happens in a few scenes that it kind of drops it down a little bit. But overall, if you see, like, there's a commercial for Jolly Ranchers that plays, and it's just like bright, all the colored things going all over with a white background, and that commercial just looks amazing. So imagine the Wii U and all these Nintendo games with all these amazing colors. It's like I had a 60-inch LG plasma, like a low-end plasma, and I was playing 3D World, I was playing Pikmin, and Sonic Lost Worlds, and just the main menu for the Wii U menu on the screen, jumping up to this Sony with that triluminous display with these ridiculous color amounts of colors it can display. It honestly looked like a big of a jump as going from Wii to Wii U. Like, it was just going from a low-end plasma to this high-end Sony LED with the ability to do those colors. It was that big of a jump. So now, like, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze was the first game that I ever saw on it, and it just looks amazing. So I can't go back. I can't play on my projector at 720p. I don't want to play games on any other TV than the one that I have in my living room, and that's just the truth. Like, now that I've seen it, I go to people's houses and I see their TVs just look dull and out of date in comparison. So I'm kind of spoiled, but it is amazing. And Mario Kart 8 is just another example. So I'm just trying to think back to that charming games that were charming, kind of. I really can't sum it up like I said. I don't look at things and use that term cute, that cutest. Like I just don't use it. And you know, 3D World's very charming. The style, the visuals, Pikmin. So I can go with the charming thing and just kind of visually that style just kind of works. And yeah, the Pikmin are adorable, I guess. And thinking of Wind Waker back in the day and the HD remake, games like that. So I guess that would kind of fit into that category, but it's kind of a hard question. And then one last one. It's more of a statement. Is it crazy how people are now praising the GameCube now, but during its life it was laughed at for being purple and was called a kid's lunchbox? Then the Wii came out, and while it sold a lot, it was hated by the hardcore because of motion controls. Yeah, that's always the thing. People hated on Wind Waker. They hated on the GameCube. That the original Xbox was the cool thing with all the guys I went to school. We graduated a couple years before that came out, and that was the cool system to go to the college and have. And the Dreamcast actually was more respected than the GameCube. And but now everybody looks back at it like it was just the greatest thing of all time, and it had some amazing games. But that purple color was just a stupid choice. I think I mentioned this in another video. Why did they go with purple? It makes no sense. There's just people that they're so insecure that they wouldn't play the GameCube because it was a purple console. So Nintendo really messed up with that. They should have never had that color. It should have been black and silver and maybe blue, maybe a dark blue or something. But yeah, it's funny how people at the time it wasn't cool, but now it's kind of cool to say you like the GameCube and you liked F-Zero GX and you liked Star Fox Adventures and you liked Wind Waker. But back then people didn't like those games. I still have them. I have all my. I could show you right now my GameCube still in the box. I had the black one. I have a Wavebird wireless controller, and the Wii. People try to discredit it at first, and then it started selling well, and then they couldn't really say much. And then it was like, oh, the motion controls, oh, it's got a bunch of shovelware, it doesn't have any good games, yet one of its games wins Game of the Generation from IGN and Eurogamer, which is Super Mario Galaxy. So in hindsight, I think people always look at things differently than when it's happening, and we'll see that with the Wii U years from now. Nintendo makes 2 more systems after that. The Wii U will probably be regarded as one of the best Nintendo systems they ever made, just because of the games we're getting. We're getting some amazing games, and I kind of, I'll probably forget this prediction two generations from now. I'll be probably 50 years old, but whatever. I get what you're saying. Yeah, I agree that looking back, a lot more people are praising the GameCube than when it was originally released. So yeah, that's it. No more questions. I covered everything, got stuff off my chest. Look forward to Thursday's tournament. Try to remind everyone to get in there right at 9 as soon as you can, and so it doesn't get a bunch of different groups, so when it shuffles, it doesn't put like just 2 people by themselves and stuff. So yeah, the no items, very exciting for me. I've been wanting this to come up, and I honestly do it randomly. I do a 20-sided dice, and it honestly came up in carts only. For those that don't like bikes, there's something for you. And yeah, I look forward to seeing everybody back. I know everybody can't make it every single time, but I did like to see all the new faces plus all the returning the regulars last week. So that was really cool. I'm guessing most people are going to be watching this on the replay. So, and if someone's on YouTube and left questions, I don't see those. I only see them on Google Plus on the Q&A app. So, if someone asks me a question on YouTube, I didn't get to it, I'll try to answer it in the comments once that video gets on YouTube. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you next Monday for episode 3. Don't know what I'm going to talk about just yet. I got a few ideas. I haven't narrowed it down, but I'll let you know. Follow me on Google Plus. That's kind of where I usually announce these a day ahead so that people know that they're going to be happening. So yeah, if somebody that races in the tournament too, I forgot to mention this, if you want to be on this, even if it's just off camera, you just want to be heard, I'd love to talk to you know, one of the winners, somebody that wins, like we've had 2 different winners. I'd love to hear your thoughts and you know, pick your brain as to how you're so good. So if you've been in my tournament and you finished near the top and stuff, or just raced in general, if you've raced every week this so far, all 3 weeks, I'd like to hear your guys' opinions. And if you want to come on here and talk, that's cool with me. I'm open to that. And yeah, hopefully we'll get some participation next week. I can change the time. It doesn't have to be 6:30. It can be later. It's not going to be earlier, but it can be later. So so yeah, that's all I got, guys. We'll see you in the next video.